I can't promise either one. Well, I know
businessmen over the last several years have been so frustrated because they feel like the rules change on them from Monday to Friday. And if I could bring a picture in here, because I know that paints 1,000 words, I could show you better. But since I can't, let me give it to you in words. I think that most businessmen that I talk to feel like they are on some kind of mythical track with their international competitors. And when they start that race, they feel like we have placed on them a heavy burden of taxes that they don't feel they're around that lap again. If they come back the third time, they're still close. Instead of taking some of the weight off of them, what we do is put a third weight on them of more litigation than their international competitors are carrying, and we say keep running in the race. If some way miraculously they happen to still win the race, we walk up to them, take their prize away, and say, now we're going to share it with everybody, even the people who didn't run in the race. And we ask ourselves why we're not creating jobs. Well, we just have to turn that around. And let me tell you what's at stake. It's not just our economy. That's important. But what's truly at stake is the fact that we carry the burden of doing that because we have to pass the torch of freedom on to our children and our grandchildren. I believe we'll succeed because the price of our failure is far too great. Thank you all for what you did. Richmond has. So it's great to be here with folks who believe that, look, we can reach across lines, whether they're geographic or partisan, to solve problems. The three issues that I hear about the most running for the Senate, and I can't tell you how glad I am to see a finish line after a 19-month race, is how do we accelerate the economy, how do we fix the budget, and how do we find common ground. And of the three, the last is probably the most important. Accelerating the economy. Look, the Dow is at its highest in nearly 5 years, and the unemployment rate is at its lowest in nearly 4 years. And there are some really significant good news in the housing side, but we know we're not where we need to be. We need to be much better. I happen to believe, bluntly, that Congress is the chaperone. That there's a great deal of lift that we can achieve if we have a Congress that knows how to work together. When I was governor in the worst recession in 75 years, Virginia was named by Forbes as the most business-friendly state in America all 4 years. Lowest 10 unemployment, top 10 median income. And the way we did it in Virginia was we focused on the success of small businesses, investing in infrastructure, but especially investing in talent. Win the talent race, win the economic race, that's the reason that Virginia's gone from 38th in per capita income to 7th in my lifetime, and that's the issue that I probably will focus most on if I go into the Senate. Second, we have to fix the budget. We spend $3.7 trillion a year. We take in $2.5 trillion a year. Therein lies the problem. And we have to close that gap. As the only governor in modern times who left office with a smaller budget, general fund, than when I started, I know how to make a lot of cuts, but I also know that you can't just cut your way to prosperity. So my proposal to close that gap involves fixes on both sides of the balance sheet. I don't think you can fix the problem we have just on one side of the balance sheet. So I embrace a basic notion, Simpson Bowles kind of laid it on the table, of making $2 or $3 of cuts for every dollar of revenue, but I do think you need both. The last thing is the thing that's the most important, and that is we got to work together, because everybody in this room, you're all in groups, you're all in businesses. You know, I grew up in a small business household. My dad had an ironworking and welding shop with 7 employees. You're not only in businesses, you're in church councils and PTAs and associations like the Chamber of Commerce. And we all know in life, if you're in a group, it's never just going to be your way. You've got to put your ideas on the table and find ways to find common ground. That's what we're missing in Congress right now. That's what we're missing in Washington right now. I had the opportunity to serve as a nonpartisan mayor in a very diverse city and work to bring people together. And then in 6 of my 8 years as lieutenant governor and governor, I was dealing with 2 Republican houses, and in 2 of my years with 1 house each. We were the best managed state in America. We were the best state to raise a child. We were the best state for business. Every year I was governor, not a single one of those were Tim Kaine accolades. They were Virginia accolades. But we couldn't have gotten accolades if I didn't know how to work together with Republican legislative leaders and Democrats too. And not that we always agree. You know, what we also know about groups is you don't have to always agree, but you have to always maintain a relationship and a friendship, because if you disagree about something today, you can still wake up tomorrow and find something else to agree on. And that's what we need to do. And I'll just say this as I close. When John Warner was our senior senator, he was in a gang of 14 in the United States Senate, 7 Republicans and 7 Democrats who would work together to break log jams. Mark Warner, now proud Democrat, is leading a gang of 6. We should be worried that the number is dwindling, but nevertheless, a Virginian is at the center of the effort now to create that bridge building to bring people together for solutions. If the gang is 6 or 14 or 98 or 2, if I'm in the U.S. Senate, I'll be part of it, because we got to build bridges to make things happen. Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be with you tonight. Appreciate it.
Affairs Manager for DuPont to come forward and to give a few comments from our title sponsor, DuPont.
Lenita said I only had an hour, so I'm going to talk about greenbelt technology and chemistry and how it can improve our lives. I'll go ahead and just really quickly summarize something about DuPont that's kind of inherent in what we're here tonight. DuPont's celebrating its 210th anniversary in business. We have a great Virginia connection. DuPont was founded by an immigrant chemist from France who was encouraged to get into the gunpowder business by a president named Thomas Jefferson. And over the years, DuPont has partnered with governments, both state and local and federal, on a lot of the big challenges and a lot of the major conflicts around the world. We fought in all of and provided materials for all those different conflicts. We helped work on the Manhattan Project, helped win World War II. We provided radioactive materials that helped win the Cold War. We helped materials that made the space race. But all along, there's been a partnership with the government. And it's organizations, I think, like the Chamber, both the state and great chambers like the Chesterfield Chamber, and the elected officials here and the candidates that are here, that help make those things happen. I think the last thing I would say, in my experience, is Virginia's history of the citizen legislator really makes a difference in how Virginia operates and succeeds. The part-time legislator that is focused on a short-term legislative session, then comes back and has to be involved meeting a payroll, running a business, being involved in the community with their constituents, I think gives Virginia the real advantage among all the states in the United States. So again, thank you to the Chesterfield Chamber, thank you to all the candidates, elected officials here tonight, and have a great evening.
Before we recognize the wonderful restaurants that have provided all the food for us, I want to brag on DuPont a little bit. The Chesterfield Chamber was founded by small businesses, and we are strongly populated by small businesses. It is the backbone of this country. It's the backbone of this chamber. But there are large businesses that really that make a real impact in our community and in this chamber, and I want to recognize DuPont for that, for this chamber. Lisa Randall, sitting back here beside Will Davis, helped us found our education committee. There's a lot of news about our education committee and some of the projects we're working on. Stay tuned. This is really exciting stuff, and this is a wonderful opportunity for us as a chamber to have a real impact directly in our public schools. And Lisa started us there. Thank you, Lisa. All the folks who provided the wonderful food we've had, a Sharper Palate Catering Company, a Winning Taste Catering, the Boathouse at Sunday Park, the Country Club at the Highlands, Edible Arrangements, Genghis Grill, the Build Your Own Stir Fry, Huckleberry Cafe and Catering, Martin's, Pescados, Plaza Azteca on the Midlothian Turnpike, Q Barbecue, Sheridan Park South Hotel, Stonehenge Golf and Country Club, Texas Roadhouse of Chesterfield, Virginia College in Richmond. Several of those have hosted Chambers Nights Out, so we're getting sort of an annuity here of food, which is fantastic. So we very much appreciate it. Before we break up, I want to recognize our staff who put this together, who worked so hard. Lenita Gilworth, our president. Darcy Warren, our director of events and communications. Sandy Whiteside, our operations manager. Thank you for coming out and enjoy the food and drink and have a great evening. Thank you.